I think I'm getting over this cold. I've had it for about 3 days, and it's supposed to start warming up here for the next few days. As of right now, in terms of the business side of things, I effectively have zero expenses. I was taking a look at it, and I was like, how much money do I think it's going to cost me to run my business over the next 5 months? And it'll probably cost me about $5,000. It'll probably cost me about $1,000 a month. I have a non-payment agreement until May of next year, and so I have effectively entered a situation where, as of right now, I'm just collecting money. In terms of the overall business strategy, when I take a look at it, what am I looking to accomplish? Right? I was talking about this. What am I looking to accomplish right now? I'm looking to get myself to a point where I have 100 animals worth of equity. I'm looking to store about 100 animals worth of equity in my herd. And then the excess money that comes off the top, I'm going to scrape it off the top to purchase things that I need for my business, so that I can get ready to make a very big push to purchase myself a new, a real big piece of land. And so I was taking a look at this, and I'm gonna go over a few things that I was taking a look at since yesterday. Yesterday I was putting a lot of emphasis on this idea of making money via equity. And when you make money via equity, in reality, you're really looking for an opportunity to accumulate tax-deductible assets that you can knowledgeably appreciate, right? That's the big idea. In terms of what kind of assets are you're looking for a tax-deductible assets that you can knowledgeably appreciate. And I wanted to go, a bit more in detail about this whole situation, and then tie it back to why, do I think about these things? Because, about 6 months ago, I was actually saying, I was taking a look at everything that I had going on. And I was saying, when I take a look at everything that I have going on and where I see, and I'm not here to be like, oh my, I got it right on the dot. I did not, but in all reality, things turned out way better than I ever anticipated. I did not get everything right on the dot. I was not 100% perfect, but at the end of the day, maybe I was 98% accurate. If you go back and you listen to my business plan, what am I looking to accomplish over the next 6 months? This is why I'm doing it, and this is how much I believe it's going to cost me. I was about let's just say 93% accurate. And the 7% that I did not account for, things went way better than I ever anticipated. All right. I did not think that things were going to go this well for me. All right. And so I've always said that part of this whole situation, I don't attribute that to myself, because I did not plan for things to go this well for me. And so I gave that to God, right? I've talked about this in all sincerity. When I take a, and if you go back about 6 months and you take a look at it, I was saying, over the next about 6 or 7 months, I anticipate that I'm going to make this much money because of this reason. And so I'm going to take that money and I'm going to put it on an option contract to get myself a new piece of property. And the reason that I'm going to do that is so that I can increase my cash flow opportunity. I'm effectively looking to give myself an opportunity to run more cattle, right? I was talking about this about 6 months ago, and I put about $30,000 on my new property. All right, I took $30,000 out of my business to pay for my new property, and I'm still in the net positive about maybe about 5 or 10 grand. And so if you think about that, it's like over the last 6 months I've effectively made about $40,000, which is more or less what I've been saying, right? If I gave it a conservative estimate, I would net a cash positive of $60,000 a year, right? Realistically, if I really split my chops open and I ran this 10.5 acre farm balls to the wall, maybe I get that up to about $120,000 a year. All right, and so I took the 30 grand, I put it on my new property, I tied it up on an option contract, and and I'm ready to go. By December 30th, the financing will be done, and by about next week, I'll be taking animals over to my new field. And so, and I was actually talking about this 6 months ago, and I was taking a look at the money. And I realized that I'm in a situation where if I took the money that I made and I reinvested it into my 10.5 acre field, I would be in a situation where I would have almost 80 to 90 cattle on a 10.5 acre field. And that would be just the money that I invested. That would not even be if I took a loan for the same amount. All right, if I took a loan, if I had made 40 grand and I still had 40 animals, and I took that 40 grand and I purchased animals, and then at the end of the year I said I need to take a loan for another 40 grand so that I can effectively what I'm looking to do in terms of running my business efficiently, I'm looking to keep myself at a net zero balance while I accumulate a large amount of tax deductible assets that I can knowledgeably appreciate. And so think about that. I mean, if I did not do what I did, and I'm very glad that I did what I did. If I did not do what I did, I would have as of right now, I would be sitting here with over 200 cattle. That would not exactly be a good situation for me. All right, and so when I take a look at what I did, I'm actually very happy that I did what I did. And I was taking a look at the tax implications of what I did, right? And so, I effectively pulled 30,000 cash out of my business to get my new piece of land squared away. And the tax implications of 30 grand is negligible. I mean, we're talking about $6,000. So I don't care about the tax implications of 30 grand. All right, 30 grand is, I had to pull 30 grand out of my business, and then I had to pay another $5,000 to $7,000 in taxes. It doesn't matter. It's a negligible amount of money. But here's the thing. When I took a look at everything that I had going on and I took a look at it for what it is, I would anticipate that within about 6 months, within about 9 months, I actually have 100, it's not even going to take me a year. It would take me about 9 months, and I would effectively have about 115 animals worth of equity already. Right. And so if I take a look at my situation within a year, I'm going to have to, because I can, I'm looking to keep myself at about 100 animals worth of equity. That's my big plan for my business, and everything that comes off the top, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to purchase tax deductible assets for my business that I need. Right, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to purchase assets that I need for my business, and I will get a tax deduction off of it, so it doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to buy myself a new truck, whatever it may be, maybe a water system. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to take the money, but it's not going to take me very long. When I take a look at my overall financial situation, I would say that I somewhere between almost 500% my income over the next 6 months. All right, about 500%. Somewhere between, maybe 400%, something like that. And so, and if you think about what does my money look like right now? If I was farming this 10.5 acre field and I just took the money that I had made and I did not buy myself a new field, and I just continuously ran cattle on this field, if you wanted to take a look at how much money I generated, we would effectively be talking about 200 cattle on this field right now, about 150 to 200 cattle on this field right now. That's about, and this is what I mean by, why do, and I want to talk about tax implications. And I was taking a look at the tax implications of, I pulled $30,000 out of my business. It's not a lot of money. I mean, the tax implications on 30 grand is like, I don't know, it's like 7,000 or something, 5,000, 7,000. It's not a lot of money. So it doesn't really matter. But, and I was taking a look at the bigger picture. And I was, and I'm like, okay, in 365 days, I am anticipating that I am going to, okay. When I talk about my numbers, I'm not, because here's the thing. It's like me, the thing about my situation is that I make so much money running cattle that I can do anything that I want on the entire planet. And so, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, you know what? I actually want to do what I can to do the best in terms of doing some good for the world as well. And when I think about it, I want to do what I can to do good for the world. That, I've actually, and I'm not saying that I'm an altruistic person. When I think about it, what situation am I in? Even if I want to do good for the world, you have to understand that a lot of people, I legitimately know people that will sell their soul for $10. I mean, the average person is not a good person. And so the best that I can do is just give truthful information. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give you my honest beliefs. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about. And at the end of the day, you know, I generate so much money that I can do anything that I want on the entire planet. Effectively anything short of like drugs, alcohol, gambling. It's, stuff like it. Short of being an idiot, I can do anything on the entire planet. All right, and so, and so I figured, why not, right? Why not show people, right? Why not show people how to make millions of dollars a year? Why not, right? I mean, you want to learn how to make millions of dollars a year? I can show you. All right, and in my current situation, if I took the money that I had made in my cattle and I did not buy myself a new piece of land, and I took that money and I purchased more cattle, and then I took a look, at my whole business scenario, and I figured that it was in my best interest to take a loan from my earnings to purchase more cattle, I would have effectively been in a situation where, as of right now, at this moment, I would have 150 to 200 cattle on a 10.5 acre field. All right, and I would anticipate that within about 365 days, okay, I'm just going to tell you my numbers because, I figured that I'm just, for whatever it may be, at least I'm being honest. Okay, right now, I have about, as of right now, I have about 250,000 cash. All right, that's about how much money, in terms of, like, if I was hit by a bolt of lightning today, my family would get a check for about 225,000. My family, if they just, liquidated my investments and then et cetera, they would effectively get a check for about 225,000. Within 365 days, I will have over $500,000 cash. All right, and so, and when I take a look at my situation and I take a look at the tax implications and what am I looking to accomplish, and, what can I do to, give good information, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Because at the end of the day, I would say in terms of a realistic look at what I'm doing, as of right this moment, I probably generate somewhere between $5 and $10 million a year. Even after I pay for everything, I still have about $15,000 a month net positive cash. All right, that's what my numbers look like, even after I pay for everything. And so even after I pay for everything, I still have about $10,000 to $15,000 a month of net positive cash. All right, and so, when I take a look at my situation and I take a look at buying myself a very big ranch, and I figured that this would be a good piece of information, because if you're looking at buying something that is very, that is going to cost, you've taken a look at you've done a cost benefit analysis, right? And you've taken a look at something, and maybe you're looking to strategize a way to buy an asset that would make it work for you in terms of the numbers. Here is what I came up with, because if I were going to go right now and I were going to purchase a 350 acre field, we're effectively talking about $3 million. And to borrow $1 million, you're going to have to pay to borrow about $3 million. You'll have to pay about $20,000 a month. And so I took a look at the situation, and this is what I came up with, because I don't want to be in a situation where I have to pull $20,000 a month out of my business to pay for a piece of land. Why do I not want to do that? Because if I have to pull $20,000 a month out of my business, we're talking about $240,000 a year. And if I'm going to pull $240,000 a year cash out of my business, the tax implications on that would be about 35%. So I would effectively have to pull about $350,000 to $400,000 out of my business so that I can have $250,000 cash. And so the strategy that I have come up with is, what if I, the strategy that and I effectively have a year to do this deal. So I have plenty of time, and, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of money. I don't, I'm more or less, I'm thinking about the future. I'm not really, I'm not, at the end of the day, what's happening is that I take a look at what I'm doing and I'm anticipating the future. When I take a look at what I'm doing, these animals right here, even these animals, I have 33 animals. average weight 450 pounds, number 1 to 1.5 type medium large frame on the majority of them. When I liquidate these animals, I effectively end up in a situation where I have about 50 animals. And if I take a loan for 50 animals, then I have 100 animals. If I have 100 animals and I'm at a net zero balance, if I raise those animals for 9 months, I effectively end up in a situation where I have 200 animals. If we're going to use the benchmark animal, the 200-pound number 1 to 1.5 type medium large frame, at 10% deduction of the feeder cattle market, cut in half. All right, if I were to take my key benchmark animal, I were to take the feeder cattle market, deduct 10%, cut that number in half, and be buying a steer that is number 1 to 1.5 type medium large frame in Central Texas. All right, if I were to take that animal as the representative for the cost of an animal, then effectively when I raise my 100 animals from 200 pounds to 850 pounds, I effectively make enough money to buy 200 animals. I have a non-payment agreement for the first 5 months of next year. So effectively, it's like if I thought that it was, and if I think about the long term, and it's like, it's about 35 months, it's about 35 animals a year. I'm going to have to utilize about 35 animals worth of money a year to keep my business running. Yeah, but the first year, it's realistically going to be about 20 because I have a non-payment agreement for the first 5 months. So if I have 200 animals worth of money after 9 months, I deduct 20 for the cost of my business, then I still have 180 animals. If I have 180 animals and then I pay the bank back their 50 animals worth of money, I still have 130 animals. I take the 30 animals worth of money off the top of my business, purchase anything that I may need. That still leaves me with 100 animals. If I have 100 animals worth of equity and I go to the bank and I take a loan for 100 animals worth of money, that puts me in a situation where I now have 200 animals. I have 200 cattle. Where am I going to put those cattle? Well, I need to buy myself. And then I also need to think about the future. If I have 200 cattle, and I raise them the way that I'm raising them, within 9 months after that, I will have enough money to purchase 400 animals, right? And so I need to think about the future. It's not just about buying one piece of land and then just scraping money off of my business for all eternity, right? I mean, I need to think about the future. I don't want to be and I've talked about this, and I would highly suggest that you do not be in a situation where you think about making money via straight cash. I would not recommend that. The tax implications are the highest out of anything. If you learn how to make money via equity, the equity is just as good as the cash. All right, you can liquidate your assets whenever you need to make money. All right, I would not sit there and think about making cash. Cash is the hardest, most unrealistic way to make money. And here's a very good way to think about it. Okay, like if I took what I was doing, right? If I took what I was doing, and I was, okay, let's think about it in terms of cash. Well, I mean, why do I say not to make your money via cash? Make your money via tax-deductible assets that are going to that you can knowledgeably appreciate profitably. Why do I say things like that? Because when you start making money, like when you start, let's say that you're in a situation where you're making $200,000 a year, right? If you make $200,000 a year, your tax implications on that 200 grand. Okay, this is actually very good. This is actually a very good example. Let's say, because I would anticipate that I net positive about $250,000 cash in the next year. Let's say that 250 grand. That 250 grand, I'm gonna make about 250,000 net positive. After I pay for everything, I'll have about 250,000 net positive. If I took that money and instead of storing that money in my animals, when I liquidated and then I just held on to the money, I would have to pay about $70,000 to $80,000 in taxes. All right, think about it like this. I would have to pay $70,000 to $80,000 in taxes. So I would effectively get about $170,000 cash in my bank account, which there is no reason to do. All right, there is no reason to have $170,000 in my bank account. All right, it's not going to do anything. I've talked about this all the time. You know, after a certain point, the money does not even do anything. All right, whatever I want to buy, I can already buy it. All right, there is no reason to sit around with this is after I've paid for everything. I will still have, there is no reason to sit around with $170,000 cash. But if I took that 250,000, and I bought cattle, if I bought cattle with that money and then I went to the bank and I took a loan for 250,000, that would put me at a net zero. I have $250,000 of my own money, and then I have $250,000 of the bank's money. And I've purchased cattle. And when I've purchased cattle, I have purchased number 1 to 1.5 type medium large frame animals. I'm going to raise these animals to accumulate, whatever, right? I'm going to take a look at these commodity markets. I'm going to feed these animals this diet. I'm going to grow the grass in this way, etc., etc. And when I do that, I can appreciate the value of my animal profitably. And when I do that, I end up in a situation where I have $500,000 worth of assets. I have 0 taxes, and my assets are going up in value. That's why you want to make money via equitable assets. You do not want to make money via cash. All right, making money via cash is the worst idea one of the worst ideas you could ever have in business. It is one of the worst ways that you could ever even consider thinking about making money. All right, there is no reason to sit around with 200,000 cash a year. It's not going to do anything. And if I really need money, I've already got myself a W-2, right? I mean, I already give myself I have a personal salary of about $7,000. If, I'm going to be starting to give myself a W-2, and I have a personal salary of about $7,000 a month. And, all of my business expenses, I can just pull it from my business account. And so everything that I need to buy in terms of my business, I just take the money out of my business account. And so even right now, it's like at $7,000 a month, it's effectively enough money for me to live, however, do whatever the heck I want. All right. I mean, if I want to go and buy myself a truck, I go and buy myself a truck. If I want to, I pay for all of my bills. If my tires go out, then, whatever, if my air conditioner explodes and I just buy a new one, it's enough money for me to do whatever the heck that I need to do. All right, there is no reason for me to sit around with $170,000 cash in my bank account. It's not going to do anything. All right, I would rather take the money and purchase tax-deductible assets. All right, if I take my money and I purchase tax-deductible assets, and then I take a loan for the equitable value of the assets that I have purchased, and I purchase that much more, then my taxes go to 0, and now I am appreciating twice as many assets at the same time. All right, and so I was taking a look at what am I looking to accomplish? What am I looking to accomplish over the next year? When I purchase a field, the big thing, and I wanted to give you this piece of information, because if you're looking to purchase something, and it's a very it's a large, it's not a large, if we're talking about a few $1,000,000, all right. If you're looking to purchase something that's maybe, like me, I'm looking to purchase something that's between about $2.5 and $3.5 million. All right, I'm looking to purchase something that's about $2.5 to $3.5 million. And my plan to purchase this asset is to ask for a 20-year loan, but I want them to sell me 25% of the property every 4 years. So it's effectively going to be the same thing, but they're going to sell me, I'm going to pay for 25% of the property every 4 years over a 20-year term. And if I do that, what I'm looking to do is keep my monthly payments under $10,000 a month. If I can keep my monthly payments under $10,000 a month, that's about $100,000 a year. If I need to pull $100,000 a year out of my business, my tax implications on that are about 40 grand. All right, I would need to pull about $140,000 out of my business a year to pay for 100 grand a year. All right, and so, I don't want to be in a situation where I am paying, $140,000 a year in taxes. That's my big thing. All right, and so, that's my strategy. And I effectively have 1 year to negotiate this deal. Because and I've talked about this in the past too, but the larger amount of money that you are talking about, the fewer people that qualify. This is one of the when you go to do a very, like, if you're going to go and look to purchase a $3.5 million asset, you've effectively kicked out 99.9999% of the entire population of the earth. All right, a very, very, very few people qualify. And so it's like, and so I'm, me, the big thing about my situation is that I'm not looking to pay $40,000. I'm not looking to pay $12,000 a month in taxes. That's not a good idea. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm paying $12,000 a month in taxes. And so I'm going to negotiate in that manner, right? More or less, I will give you the price, but you give me better terms. What are the terms that I am looking for? I am looking for you to effectively give me a loan, or to not give me a loan. I'm effectively looking to purchase the property, but I'm looking to buy it in 25% intervals over a 4-year term. And if I do that, and I need to pull $100,000, if I need to pull $100,000 a year out of my business, the tax implications on that $100,000 is about $40,000. So I would only have to pay about $40,000 a year in taxes. I would effectively have to pull $140,000, out of my business a year. And I'm gonna start the whole thing. And when I start the whole thing, I'm gonna start the whole thing with about $500,000 to $1 million worth of cash. All right, I'm gonna look to stockpile about $500,000 to $1 million worth of cash, and then I'm going to, I'm going to negotiate the deal in that manner. I think that in terms of accumulating money via the assets, in terms of accumulating money via assets, and et cetera, et cetera, it'll probably take me for me to have about $700,000 worth of cash. It will probably take me about 365 days. It will probably take me about a year. And so that's also what I mean by within a year, I am looking to purchase a new piece of property. And when I purchase a new piece of property, this time I'm going to buy a very big one. And so that's what I want my numbers to look like. I want to have about $750,000 cash. And when I go and I negotiate my deal, I'm going to look to effectively ask, the terms that I am looking for are to sell me 25% of the property every 4 years. Effectively, you're giving me a loan for 20 years and sell me 25% of the property every 4 years. That's what I'm looking for. Why am I doing that? Because I want to keep my monthly payments under 10 grand. Why do I want to keep my monthly payments under 10 grand? Because if I start going over $150,000 or so a year, the tax implications become very drastic. If I want to pull $20,000 a month out of my business, effectively every single dollar over that 240 grand is going to be taxed at 37 or like 50%. All right, but if I only have to pull $140,000 a year out of my business, a majority of my money is going to be taxed at under 50%. That's why I'm doing that. All right, a majority of the money that I need to pull out of the business will be taxed at under 50%. So that is why I'm looking to do that deal that way. All right, and so that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.